It is exactly 4 minutes past 8 p.m. A very warm welcome to UBC News Tonight with me, Sharon Kyomugisha. Thank you so much for watching UBC TV Inspiring Uganda. In our news today, we start off with a student at UCU Mukono, Nagai Natasha, who was shot at a policeman's door while she is receiving treatment at Kawalo Hospital, Buikwe District. Nagai was mistaken for a thief as she fumbled to open the police officer's door. However, residents in the area raised questions about Natasha's actions prior to the shooting. They claim she tried opening 3 doors before approaching a police officer's door, leading to suspicion and the tragic shooting. Police have not responded to these allegations. Tebangalo Dismas, the suspect, is in custody while investigations continue, and you can watch what transpired.
Nagai Natasha, a student of Uganda Christian University Mukono, is currently receiving treatment at Kawolo Hospital after sustaining bullet injuries. Natasha was shot by a counter-terrorism police officer identified as Tebangole Dismas during the night. It is alleged that the victim was given a key by her boyfriend to go home and rest, with the intention that he would join her later. Unfortunately, upon reaching the residence, Natasha mistakenly opened the door belonging to a police officer.
The suspect peeped through the window glass and observed a person using a key to open the door. In a state of suspicion, the suspect discharged 3 live bullets through the window, hitting Nagai Natasha on the right chest near the lower armpit.
The residents, who preferred not to speak on camera, stated that they did not know the student in the area. They also mentioned that she attempted to open 3 doors before approaching the police officer's door, which raised suspicion and led to the shooting incident. We reached out to police to respond to these allegations, but our efforts were futile. Tebangole Dismas is currently under detention as investigations continue. Authorities recovered a pistol and 12 rounds of ammunition from the scene. The house remains occupied with 3 bullet holes in the window. Natasha was a resident at Little Angels Executive Girls Hostel, where guards confirmed knowing her. The hostel has a policy requiring occupants to be inside the premises by 10 p.m. At the time of the shooting, Natasha had been at the university for a week. Efforts to obtain a comment from the university were unsuccessful. Ivan Kahwa and Stephen Kalisia, UBC News in Mukono District.
Well, a quick recovery to Nagai. In more news, the faithful of St. Matia Mulumba Catholic Parish, Old Kampala, are putting up a memorial building in honor of their patron saint. The Archbishop Kampala Archdiocese, His Grace Paul Semogale, officiated the fundraising ceremony for the construction of the facility. Matia Mulumba is one of the 45 martyrs that were killed for their faith during the reign of Kabaka Mwanga of Buganda from 1885 to 1887.
Bishop of Kampala Archdiocese, His Grace Paul Semogale, has advised Ugandans to refrain from corruption. He was officiating the fundraising ceremony of the construction of a new structure in memory of St. Matia Mulumba at a Catholic parish located in Old Kampala.
The guide who Jesus Christ promised us that is going to show us the way. May that Holy Spirit live within us and enable us to be as courageous as St. Matia Mulumba, to enable us to shun evil activities and live chaste and purified life.
The Archbishop also administered the Holy Sacrament of Confirmation to a number of children who turned up at the church.
Thank God, today we are going to administer the Sacrament of Confirmation to these candidates. We pray that that Holy Spirit, the Paraclete, the Advocate, the Guide, who Jesus Christ promised us that is going to show us the way, may that Holy Spirit live within us and enable us to be as courageous as St. Matia Mulumba.
At least 27 million Ugandan shillings of the required 11 billion shillings was raised during the fundraising exercise. I'm Ivan Juko for UBC.
Thank you so much, Ivan Juko. The National Fellowship of Born Again Pentecostal Church has rejected a report by the Human Rights Commission accusing the churches of involvement in human rights violation against their followers. The clergy said the report was inaccurate and may have been aimed at tarnishing their image. Muyingo has a detailed report on the story.
On Friday this week, the Uganda Human Rights Commission released a report detailing how Pentecostal churches are allegedly involved in human rights violations against believers.
Netugamba waliwo abakulembeze b'eddiini abamu abakozesa obubi amaanyi ge balina ng'abakulembeze mu ddiini okuwuddisa abantu abagoberezi baabwe.
The National Fellowship of Born Again Leadership has, however, denied the contents of the report.
If there are one or two pastors who have erred, and we have always said these structures discipline our pastors when they go wrong, and any pastor who is involved in any criminal case, the law will take charge.
We don't violate human rights. And when it comes to leadership, where they said we don't have leadership to guide us, that is not true. We have leadership right from the local church, the sub-county, we have provinces, provincial leaders, we have regional leaders, we have district leaders, up to the national level.
The spokesperson of Born Again Pentecostal Churches, Richard Magongo, says they have a leadership led by Bishop Dr. Moses Odongo and will not allow churches to violate their rights.
So one cannot allege, one cannot say that the Pentecostals do not have leadership. We have leadership. We've changed leadership 4 times with the Archbishop. Our outgoing Archbishop is Bishop Joshua Rere. Our current Archbishop is Bishop Dr. Odong.
Magongo and Bishop Frederick Wafula said the report was not consulted before it was published. They said they will go to the Human Rights Commission to take their complaint to the Commission.
So when someone comes up and says we lead in violating human rights, we are not regulated, we do things our own way, we lead in corruption, that is not true at all. And we stand to reject that report. We are ready to have a face-to-face with the Human Rights Commission.
And if the Human Rights has found anything, they should submit that information to us and we shall deal with the people concerned. We shall also go to Human Rights and present this report formally to them and also clear the record of the Pentecostals in Uganda.
Joseph Moyingo compiled this report.
Now, if there's a day which you and me couldn't afford to miss, is this year's Martyrs Day celebrations at Namugongo. And for this case, Ginger Catholic Diocese has lined up a section of activities in order to leave a memorable mark in as far as this year's Martyrs animation. The diocese has been this Sunday conducting their last public rehearsals ahead of the 3rd June celebrations. Onyango reports.
Martyrs Day celebrations at Namugongo Catholic Shrine will be animated by Ginger Diocese from Eastern Uganda and preparations are in high gear.
Oremus pro principibus ecclesiae.
Those to participate in the choir are already having vigorous training. Be it men or women, young or old, they will sing in different tones and language. This and more is what Jinja Catholic Diocese intends to bring to Namugongo Shrine in a few days' time. The choir of over 600 members and priests has on Sunday 21st May 2023 been conducting their final public training for this year's Martyrs Day celebrations at Namugongo.
From the international point of view and the Ugandan point of view, and from the Busoga point of view. So basically everybody will be in the liturgy.
This has been an event hosted at Rubaga Hill Cathedral in Jinja City.
As on the look of things now, we are at 75% to get ready to Namugongo. We ably have a week which we are going to extensively work out in a few things. And you know, this is a big challenge. Like for our dancers, this is going to be their first opportunity.
As Jinja City, I feel this is an opportunity for people to know more about us, because as I'm speaking, even in Kampala, everywhere, everybody knows that it is Jinja City leading. So I take this opportunity to advertise. We are using this opportunity to advertise our city.
Jinja Diocese is to be captained to Namugongo by Right Reverend Charles Martini Wamika.
We came to Rusoga here.
This year's Martyrs Day celebrations will be marked under the theme, Lord, increase my faith.
Now, the challenge is that we also go there, and with our little faith, we also contribute, also share that little faith with the people who will be there.
These men and women from the East are very much sure that this year's Martyrs Day animation will be pleasantly exceptional and unmatched.
Now we are going to combine culture and Catholic values, all in one. So you are going to see Busoga's culture being painted.
It has always been said several times that the wise came from the East, and for this case, Jinja Diocese, which comes from the eastern parts of the country, is saying, after nearly 20 years of absence from Namugongo preparations, they are coming back come 3rd June this year, 2023. For this case, they are inviting you to come and witness the best from the wise from the East. I'm Robert Onyango, UBC News, Jinja City.
Well, UBC TV will be showcasing and showing what happens at the Martyrs Day on the 3rd of June. All the celebrations will be broadcasted live. And in more stories, leaders have visited Hoima Regional Referral Hospital to ascertain the state of the health facility. The spontaneous visit to the facility was led by the Hoima City Woman Member of Parliament, Asinasi Nyakato.
Hoima Referral Hospital has shocked legislators and warned state intervention. The situation is coupled by staff absenteeism and patients being made to sleep on the floor and wait from outside wards as they seek for medical attention.
We have seen where we have moved the other side, the bush is too much. Hospital, referral hospital is such a bush. You have seen the dustbin, it is littered everywhere. And you have also seen some of the patients. We have moved through those wards, the nurses. It's only the nursing assistants, these ones who are just learning, who are in their first word. They are just students, they're not even doctors, intern doctors. The intern doctors are not here, the doctors are not here. We have found 4 bodies in the hospital who have just died today. So just imagine, it is just early morning. 4 bodies are already there. They are not doctors.
Hoima City Woman Member of Parliament Asinansi Nyakato attributed the impromptu visit to public outcry.
But we have also found cases where people have been disconnected off the oxygen because they are taking it to others who have just come, who are in a very sorry state. We are aware that this hospital has oxygen, enough oxygen to admit, because the situation where you can reach removing this one who is somehow not, and you take it to the other one and you leave the other one dying, it means things have run out of hands.
The hospital administration, Paul Ajuk, says the hospital lacks enough human resource and the Ministry of Health does not supply them with enough medical equipment.
Currently, we are supposed to have the intern doctors replacing the ones that have gone, but because there is a national problem, those intern doctors have not been deployed. Even the senior house officers, those are doctors who are qualified, but they are qualifying to be specialists. They have also not been deployed because of a national problem.
They, however, refuted allegations of squeezing cash from patients.
The Minister of Transport and Works, General Edward Katumba Wamala, has said that contractors have started on transport works on Masaka Road, with the road to be completed soon. The Minister was on his journey to Masaka with MV NODL Victoria.
The Minister of Works and Transport, General Edward Katumba Wamala, has today left for Masaka using the MV NODL Victoria. The minister assured Ugandans that works along Masaka Road have commenced and the road will soon be back into operation.
We are already twatadeko contractor again to chikola. Era olwalera akola kituyita mobilization. Aleta equipment ku site atandike.
This follows concerns over the delay in the construction works, and the minister said the contractor has started. The MV NODL Victoria sails from Masaka and was set up to ease transportation.
Okay, meri twagiteekawo kugezaako kuyamba mu mbeera eyabeerawo nga tulowooza nti yinza okukendeezaako ku buzibu bw'abantu mu ntambula. Tatasobola kuyita eri ng'ababadde balinnyanga zi taxi. Bw'aba asobola okutuuka wano Entebbe ne bamuwungula wano, kubanga wali okuva Ebukakata okutuuka Masaka oluguudo Kawerette dakiika 2 oba otuuse. Era ndooza abantu twakiteekawo nga kugezaako okuyamba, naye ate kirabika abantu kakati ate bakyagadde.
Abuwanika, an official on the ship, says they are now getting large numbers to Masaka.
Obungi bw'abantu bweyongedde, ate abantu bali mu kugamba nti beetaaga emmeri eno ebeereko eno route. So that's why abantu babadde bajjanga beeyongerako, buli kanaku bajja beeyongera, buli kanaku bajja beeyongera, era tetumanyi ngeri ki gye tuyinza kukikolamu. Abantu juzi okwosa ejjo abantu babadde bangi nnyo, naye wabula abantu abamu twakakanye nga tulina baleka. Abantu abamu era bagendedde ku MV Kalangala, basobole osula Kalangala then bagendewa Ebukakata.
The sailors shared their experience of sailing with MV Victoria.
Our whole week, and they are requesting that even when the Katonga Road is fixed, they still want to travel with us. They still want this ship to continue working with them. Abantu bayagadde engero gye batambulamu, era abasinga basaba nti singa emmeeri eno esigalirawo ddala nebanga ebasaabaza okuva Ebukakata.
Bakoze kirungi nnyo era twagala balijjo kubanga batuvuze bulungi, tutambudde bulungi, tewaliwo buzibu.
Yokumazzi batugonderezaamu ebisale nga tubadde tutambulira emitwalo 4 ku 5 ku 7 naye kati wano tutambulira omutwalo gumu n'ekitundu.
Still in UBC News tonight, the third Deputy Premier, Hajat Lukia Nakadama, has appreciated the work done by Wakiso District Qadi Sheikh Elias Chigozi for uniting Muslims in Wakiso. This was during the Thanksgiving ceremony of Deputy Ambassador of Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Sheikh Sulaiman Lubega Guagua at Kira Nakwero Gayaza.
Wakiso District Qadi Sheikh Elias Chigozi has appreciated President Yoweri Museveni for his good leadership that has added value to Muslims in the country.
Allah tasobola kututongera. Ate man la yashkuru nas. Omuntu atasobola kwebaza abantu. La yashkuru Allah. Tasobola kwebaza Katonda. Naye nga musiramu tuli basimu nnyo. Omukulu mutugambire tuli basimu ekyo kyatukoledde. Tukyebaze ekyo. Kubanga ffe tutunuulira kyekiri mu ngalo zaffe eddiini kyetugamba. Tetutunuulira tetulinga abalala be basuubiza ensi empya ate nga tebamanyi oba banaagirabako.
Ambassador Sheikh Yahya Semudu, on behalf of other diplomats at the Thanksgiving event, Sheikh Sulaiman Lubega Gugwa in Chira Nakwero Gayaza appreciated President Museveni for rescuing over 300 Ugandans from Sudan.
His Excellency tumusiimira ne tumwebaza nti ensi nnyingi oluvannyuma lw'olutalo okutandika e Sudaani abantu baafuna ebizibu nga tebamanyi waakuddukira, naye His Excellency yasalawo mangu era Ministry ya Foreign Affairs nekola ekyetaagisa, Embassy netwala obuvunaanyizibwa bwayo, security organs zaffe wano nazo ne zifaayo, Bannayuganda ne tubakomyawo.
The NRM Treasurer Ambassador Nekesa Barbara Oundo advised Ugandans to be job creators and appreciated the NRM government for the freedom of worship.
Buli mwaka bafulumya abaana emitwalo 10 n'okusoba. Abo bonna banaayingirawa. Ate ayingidde mu kukola nga wa myaka 3 alina okuwumula nga wa myaka meka 65. Pozi nga tunakuba abali mu office obutayimbwa tubajjeyo tulyoke tuteekeyo ki abalala. Ekyo kiba kitegeeza ki tulina okutondawo emirimu.
The Minister for Kampala Metropolitan Affairs, Hajat Masaka, appealed to Muslims and Ugandans at large to work hard for a better Uganda. She asked Ambassador Sheikh Gugwa to play the role of a bridge for the development of the country.
Our people of Wakiso to join government programs when these are their programs like Emyoga and PDM. So that means if you don't join Emyoga or PDM, it's up to you. But President has brought this money, the government has brought this money just for all of us, especially the poor people.
Third Prime Minister Lukia Nakadama, who represented President Museveni, the event urged Muslims across the country to appreciate government programs like PDM to improve livelihoods.
PDM program is mainly for those people who had not shared that money that came in before in other programs. We have the PDM and it is catering for the 39% of those people who are totally or who have been working towards the stomach alone. Their main issue was to work for daily income. It is right now known as Echida Chonka. Whoever is in charge of that, please don't allow this money to be misused, because you will be arrested and you will be taken to prison, because everybody is following this money to see that they really get their million, which can help them to join the money economy.
The Thanksgiving ceremony for the Deputy Ambassador to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Sheikh Sulaiman Lubega Gugwa, was held at his home in Chira Nakwero Gayaza.
Hundreds of people are expected to take part in this year's Rwenzori Marathon. The Minister of ICT and National Guidance, Godfrey Kabyanga, says that this year's marathon is aimed at conserving nature and the entire Rwenzori ecosystems. Watch.
State Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Godfrey Kabyanga, says preparations are underway for the Rwenzori Theluji Festival, which is set to attract hundreds of runners.
Next week, that's when the Theluji Festival, Theluji Marathon will be launched. But now we are here trying to mobilize the Kasese community that, look, there is a big festival coming in September. Can you prepare? Can you prepare yourselves, first of all, to go and receive the guests in Kasese? Two, to ensure the hotels are in perfect condition.
to ensure you mobilize the population to put up mobile restaurants. Actually, even those who are not in restaurant business should start preparing themselves to see that there is no scarcity of food.
The Ruji Festival will be held in Kasese Rwenzori region, September this year. A season tourism entrepreneur Amos Wekesa explains that the festival will help promote tourism in the area.
Rwenzori has the ability to make $1 billion for the people of Kasese. That is 3 trillion, over 3 trillion, 3.5 trillion shillings for the people of Kasese. But it's the people of Kasese to appreciate that. Now, one of the ways in which we're going to have this work is by making sure we popularize the place through the Rwenzori Marathon. We were #1 in the USA Today Rwenzori Marathon. Why? It's because when the editors of USA Today saw the pictures of the Rwenzoris, they said there's no better place, there's no beautiful place like the Rwenzoris in the world.
This year's festival will focus on the conservation of Rwenzori mountain ecosystem and will be characterized by planting of 6 million trees to counter climate change.
The biodiversity of Rwenzori is being lost. And when you look at the snow mainly, there's a reduction of snow. And because of the global warming. So the global warming, the increase in the temperatures of the world is affecting snow. And Rwenzori snow is one of them. So it has been known that there's much reduction of the snow on Mount Rwenzori.
For all these activities, we are trying to bring out awareness that we love the glacier and we need to save the glacier. That's why we are also going to plant about 6 million trees.
Sada Mubale, UBC News, Kampala.
The Rotary Club of Kampala Sese holds elections for new leaders. This annual event marks a significant milestone for the club, which unites retirees from Sese Island living in Kampala district. During the annual meeting at Kazi in Wakiso district, members applauded the exceptional leadership of the outgoing president, Nantua Justin.
The Rotary Club of Kampala Sese has held elections of a brand of leaders, including a club president, during a fellowship held at Kazi, Wakiso district. The outgoing president, Nantua Justin, explained that she had enjoyed her tenure of office, including construction of the Daje Health Center in Sese Islands.
We have achieved at least 90% of our goals. The most remarkable activity has been the handover of the ultrasound equipment, which was worthy $90,000 to 3 health centers in Kalangala. That is Bumanje, Mugoye, and Bwendelo. And this one has really impacted mothers, whereby at least 517, actually that was a time when we got the status, received the ultrascan services, of which 123 cases were referrals for further management, and we managed to save the mothers.
The newly elected president of the Rotary Club of Kampala Sese, Irene Nabayunga, promised to shift the club's focus on the boy child like it has been with the girl child.
As we usher in the year, I'm honored and humbled to be the 33rd president of the Rotary Club of Kampala Sese Islands, and the first ever president to preside over a DG in that club. Our DGE, our on-top DGE, Edward Kakembo Nsubuga, is absent because he had family ties. This year, as a district, we shall create hope in the world by focusing on the boy child. Statistics reveals that the boy child is not mentored at the same level as the girl child. As you all know, even in your homes, when you wake up in the morning, you tell the girl child, "Zuka nawe gendo nabo mwana omuwala tabeeranga tanaabye." Meanwhile, you leave the boy to linger without bathing and without even brushing.
Irene's vision has resonated with many of the members who believe that a balanced approach is crucial for holistic development. The Rotary Club of Kampala Sese prides itself on being a force for positive change, and Irene's presidency promises to continue.
The president to hand over the chain of power, the chain of leadership for the club to me. I do hereby decorate you.
Sudat Kaye and Jimmy Aluri, UBC News.
The Lands Minister Judith Nabakova has handed over 1,000 land certificates of ownership and tenancy to residents of Kagadi and Chibali, a development being spearheaded by the Uganda Land Commission. Benefiting communities appreciate NRM government for the initiative. Details follow.
Government through the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development has continued to roll out issuance of free land certificates to bona fide occupants. Over 1,000 residents from the districts of Kagadi and Kibale are the latest beneficiaries. The certificates handover ceremony held in Kagadi district was presided over by the Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Judith Nabakova. Most of the land titles are from land that was initially a private property before government bought it in 2004.
It has resolved a historical land injustice and returned land to the rightful landowners. As the minister responsible for land, my concern has been that the former occupants did not have any form of government document and were therefore open to illegal land evictions. I'm pleased that you are now registered landowners and nobody will ever come to evict you.
The beneficiaries are now urged to put into good use these certificates and land.
So we want to thank Professor for finding it tenable to buy those land titles. And we will encourage, when you find an applicant coming to Uganda Land Commission freely without following the process Honorable Minister now is trying to follow, please admit that application.
The next steps must therefore involve increasing productivity of the land to produce surplus for the markets.
Beneficiaries included schools, churches, markets and individuals. The core government's intention in doing this is, among others, to put to rest land wrangles and conflicts, especially those arising from tenancy and ownership.
Well, we'll take a short commercial break and we'll be back with more stories.
Jerry con! Jerry con! Hey, Master Blaster! Touch him, man! Buy Jerry con with muscle! Those ones who say go for you only. Mundava! Best movies I teach you. When I go to which the because of the camera is very far. Is you serious? Is serious you? What? Yeah? You step it on it. Add kilometers to your legs and you get your sugar. We buy meat from Umaru and Umaru refuse to give you enough meat. Mama! Show him that they don't joke with you. Umaru, Jerry car.
Okukakaluka n'okulungi kwetaagako omuntu akuyambako n'olwekyo tujja kukuteerawo embeera esaanidde osobole okukola ekisinga awamu teri kitulema.
Where does it come from? That thing that makes us Ugandan. That thing that makes us different from everybody else. Where does it grow infinitely? Some say it's in our history, in our culture, and in our hearts, in our warm smiles and vast miles of coffee, dairy farmland, and amazing maize fields. It's in our inherent pursuit to always be better, to never stop growing and glowing. So you see, we are more than just a waving flag. We are a nation of sweat and skills, a nation of ideas and inventions. But what truly makes us Ugandan is our quest to improve the quality of life for Ugandans by creating sustainable jobs, businesses, and improving household incomes. That's what makes us Uganda Development Bank.
Uganda Development Bank, inspiring development.
This is the University of Africa. On the streets, you get your real education. Here, everybody has a degree of something. But the most important qualification is imagination. Her reason to imagine is slay. His reason is to be the goat. Theirs is to take the beat and make it lit. They want to test edgy till it is fire. Their reason for imagination is to add riz in style. Her reason to imagine is finesse. And hers is to find what's new and bussin'. So no matter what your situation, just use your imagination.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president. She is the hope of our community. And as a community leader, I will talk to others about how we must protect her against child marriage and teenage pregnancy because it affects us all. We each have a role to play in empowering our teenage girls to protect them from pregnancy. Because when we empower them, we empower our nation. Protect the girl, save the nation.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sauti 116.
Are you tired of high fees and slow transfer time when sending money? Look no further. Airtel Money is here to revolutionize the way you move your money. We have revised our rates and now sending money from Airtel to other networks in Uganda, East Africa and to the rest of the world has never been more affordable. Plus, you can trust Airtel Money to get your money where it needs to go quickly and safely. Simply dial *185# and start sending money. Switch to Airtel Money today and experience unbeatable rates and top-notch services for all your local and international money transfer needs. Airtel Money, instant, secure, borderless.
Uganda is rich in natural resources and hard-working people. But to turn these resources into real progress and development, we need to invest in our infrastructure, education, and health care. That's where taxes come in. When we pay our taxes, we are investing in our country's future. We are supporting the schools that educate our children, the hospitals that care for our families, and the roads and bridges that connect our communities. And when businesses pay their taxes, they are contributing to the growth and development of Uganda's economy. They are helping to build a stronger, more prosperous nation for us all. So when you pay your taxes, you are investing in the future of Uganda and supporting the progress and development of our nation. Uganda is because of you.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. Setting up of a trade remedies committee has been recommended as a lasting solution to the recurrence of trade disagreements in the East African Community region. The recommendation comes in the wake of increased denial of goods access to some East African member states, including Uganda's milk to Kenya. East African Legislative Assembly Chapter Chairperson for Uganda, George Odongo, says the committee will facilitate implementation of the Non-Tariff Barriers Act in all member states.
The denial of Uganda's milk access to the Kenyan market is one setback that has attracted more alarms than whispers. According to Ugandan traders, goods have perished, losses have been made, jobs have been lost, and milk processing companies are on the verge of closure.
This week, and even the subsequent week to follow, the milk prices could drop further to about 400, even 300. This will subject the milk industry, the dairy industry, a very serious shock.
In early 2021, Uganda's maize was equally denied access to the Kenyan market. They cited quality factors reportedly arising from aflatoxin infections.
When they are hungry, there is no aflatoxin. You see, when there is scarcity in Kenya, there is no aflatoxin. But the moment they sniff that there is some maize somewhere that they would want to import or bring into the Kenyan market, they begin to say the Ugandan maize is aflatoxin. I think it's a very unfair business practice.
A solution could be in the offing. The East African Community Committee on Trade Remedies is established under Article 24 of the Customs Union Protocol. It is meant to find solutions to any trade disagreements that may arise between any East African member states.
This Trade Remedies Committee should be empowered to be able to assess the implementation of the Non-Tariff Barriers Act in all the partner states, so that where there is a breach in the law, they should be able to investigate and be able to provide remedial action.
It is required that the committee be composed of 9 members. The figure was arrived at the time the ESC had only 3 members.
So you have people who are coming from the bureaus of standard bureaus of the different partner states. We have people from customs, experts from customs. You have experts from those that are going to look at phytosanitary requirements. So there was really very specific requirements for those who would be part of that committee. Now, because of the increasing number of partner states, this committee would eventually become so bloated.
The republics of Uganda, Kenya and Tanzania were the original members of the East African Community at its revival in 1999. Rwanda and Burundi joined in July 2007, South Sudan in August 2016, and more recently, Democratic Republic of Congo in July 2022.
The intra-trade in Europe is over 70%. In the European Union, it's about over 70%. In East Africa, intra-trade is at 13%, courtesy of these non-tariff barriers, but most importantly, the failure to understand and appreciate what integration means.
It is on this basis that the East African Community Council of Ministers is being called upon to establish the Trade Remedies Committee.
Our suspicion is that there are people who feel that once we constitute this committee, it will remove their mandates and it will remove, it will weaken their roles and it will shift their roles and concentrate their powers in these committees. So it's like a tough, we are dealing with undeclared tough wars. And I think it is very unprincipled.
The ESC is home to an estimated 283.7 million citizens, of which over 30% live in urban areas. The region is blessed with a land area of 4.8 million square kilometers and a combined gross domestic product of $305.3 billion US. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Now we'll take a short commercial break and we'll be back with more stories.
This is a quick call. I'm almost out of minutes. Now, the center.
Why rush through such important conversations? Airtel Uganda has made it possible for you to call across all networks in Uganda at the best rates with the new Bona voice bundles. Stay connected anytime, anywhere, with minutes valid for calls on all networks. Dial star 100 star 1 hash, select voice bundles and select Bona voice bundles today.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.
Juko.
Yo.
What you check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, it is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better.
PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Did you know that you can safely and conveniently make your school fees payments anytime, any school, anywhere using Airtel Money? Oh yes! Simply pick up your phone and dial star 185 hash. Select option 6, school fees. Choose between school pay, peg pay, or shore pay. Enter student number. Enter amount, confirm name and transaction. Enter Airtel Money PIN. A confirmation message will be sent to you upon a successful transaction. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Now, from the international scene, Britain this week called for reforms of the European Court of Human Rights after judges there blocked flights carrying asylum seekers to Rwanda for processing. There's been a sharp rise in the number of migrants arriving in small boats on Britain's shores, and the government believes the policy of sending them to Rwanda will dissuade many from making the dangerous decisions. Now, but as Henry Rigwell reports, many analysts say Britain's European allies have little appetite for reforming the court.
British authorities have detected almost 7,000 migrants crossing the English Channel in small boats from France so far this year. The total for 2022 exceeded 45,000. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has repeatedly pledged to, in his words, stop the boats. So Britain signed a deal with Kigali last year, which would see an unspecified number of migrants flown there for processing, asylum and resettlement, with no right to appeal. Britain has already paid Rwanda $150 million under the agreement.
It's novel, it's ambitious, but I believe it is compliant with our international obligations.
But judges at the European Court of Human Rights disagreed. Just as the first plane was about to take off for Rwanda last June, the court issued what's known as a Rule 39 injunction, blocking the flights on the grounds that they likely breach the Council of Europe's Convention on Human Rights, to which Britain is a signatory. The Council of Europe is not part of the European Union. In response, the British government has introduced new legislation which would override European court decisions. The bill is currently being debated in Parliament. And at a meeting of the Council of Europe this week, Prime Minister Sunak said he would try to persuade European partners to reform the court itself.
We want to make sure that the European Court is always conducting itself in a way which is fair, which is effective, which is transparent.
Some analysts say Europe is not in the mood to negotiate with Britain after the country's exit from the EU.
I'm not necessarily sure that they will go the extra mile
to go and enter into reform of yet another sort of European institution to please Mr. Sunak and his hardline government when it comes to migration.
Some members of Sunak's Conservative Party want Britain to quit the Council of Europe and its Convention on Human Rights. The last country to leave the organisation was Russia, expelled last year after its invasion of Ukraine.
Faced with the threats of rights, you give us what we want, so we just leave the European Convention of Human Rights and the Council of Europe, the answer could very well be, well, let's go ahead and be a pariah state, just like Russia is. I think it would be a mistake for Britain to do that at the moment, especially, as I say, given that we have a war next door.
Just over a quarter of the migrants arriving on small boats in 2022 were Albanian. Britain has deported over 1,000 back to their home country. The Albanian Prime Minister said last month that Britain was having a nervous breakdown over migration. Henry Ridgwell for VOA News, London.
This is the University of Africa. On the streets, you get your real education. Here, everybody has a degree of something. But the most important qualification is imagination. Her reason to imagine is slay. His reason is to be the GOAT. Theirs is to take the beat and make it lit. They want to test edgy until it is fire. Their reason for imagination is to add riz in style. Her reason to imagine is finesse. And hers is to find what's new and bussin'. So no matter what your situation, just use your imagination.
Welcome to the last segment of UBC News Tonight, and in our sports stories, after close to a year without action due to raising water levels at most venues, the National Beach Volleyball Tour resumed with action at Kalanoga's Resort Beach in Busabala. It was a contest between 6 teams paired in 2 groups of 3, each with the top 2 from each entering the semi-final. After topsy-turvy group stage, Sombe Nancy and Habiba Namara faced and beat Mariam Nakamia and Hafsa Nakalima by 2 sets of 21-18 and 21-17. The second semi-final needed a tiebreaker set in favor of Peace Businje and Catherine Mbabazi over Magin Namialo and Catherine Makongoro, whom they beat by 2 sets to 15-21, 21-18 and 15-9. The final between Nancy Sombe and Habiba Namara against Peace Businje and Catherine Mbabazi that was watched by Uganda Volleyball Federation General Secretary Godwin Sentondo also went to a tiebreaker and was won 2-1, 22-20, 13-21 and 15-13 by the pair of Namara and Sombe. Beach Volleyball Chairperson Mofat Masaba is pleased that the league is back with better expected progressively during this league, whose next action is on the 3rd and 4th of June 2023. And then in more sports stories, and lastly, the Commissioner for Physical Education at the Ministry of Education and Sports, Reverend Canon Duncan Mugomya, has urged schools to maintain the standard of school games competition to achieve their significance. He was officiating at the final of the Uganda Secondary Schools Association, where St. Mary's School Chitende emerged victor after defeating St. Henry's Chitovu 1-0.
The Uganda Secondary Schools competitions have been hosted at Nyakashura School in Fort Portal City. At least 64 schools participated, where St. Mary's Chitende emerged victorious after beating St. Henry's Chitovu 1-0 in finals. The Mugumya Commissioner in charge of physical education, Reverend Canon Duncan, urged schools management to maintain standard for relevancy of these competitions.
Officially, we are supposed to have, we are the champions, and they invited 2 teams, so 2 plus the champion, those are 3. The 3 teams have qualified to play in Fiasa Games in Huye. Congratulations. But depending on the circumstances, we may invite an extra team. Depending on how other teams participate, we may invite an extra team, 1 or 2, depending on the circumstances.
3 schools that participated have qualified for World School Sports Football Championship in Morocco starting July this year.
And when it comes to putting sanity, I want to assure you of that. We are going to support you, and we shall weed and have the games clean. But as you know me, as a chairperson of all the teachers in Uganda, I want to assure you of one thing. We are not only going to weed non-students, but we are also going to weed the officiating officers who are very corrupt. I am not referring to these ones of today. They have done a good job, but it is my dream that games should end and the referee is not protected by security. We want to have the day when we shall end and shake hands peacefully.
Organizers have committed to upscaling discipline in these competitions.
I always repeat, when we meet the budget committee, when we meet the education committee, when we go to parliament, I have never seen my party in those when we are discussing sports. Every party supports the same. So let us give a very big hand clap to the government of Uganda. And obviously to His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for the peace, and to Mama for the support, and to Honorable State Ministers for the great support.
And that's all we had for you in this hour. Do join me again at 10 p.m. for more news coming you, and you can stay tuned for more programming on UBC TV Inspiring Uganda. My name is Sharon Kyomugisha.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Where does it come from? That thing that makes us Ugandan. That thing that makes us different from